Since when did open-mindedness and compassion for others and for the opinions of others become some form of partisan betrayal? When did that happen? That's what we act like increasingly. That in our hyper-partisan, hyper-polarized culture and politics, expressing even the slightest modicum of interest in the possible validity of the other side's perspective is not only weakness but treachery. This is the product of our new hyper-partisan era that was just talked about, in which Americans on one side of the political aisle hate the other side more now than ever. Studies show we're now actually willing to discriminate based on party affiliation. Some studies actually suggest that willingness to discriminate may now rival or actually be a proxy for racial bias. We hate each other that much. And in this climate, compassion, reaching across the aisle, reaching across identity groups, trying to understand each other, is considered treachery. Democracy cannot function in this environment. Democracy cannot function in this environment. Social change and transformation and understanding and learning certainly cannot function in this environment. I think we're starting to see all of that now, at least in the United States. Now, let me be very clear here about what I'm not saying. I'm not saying we shouldn't have strong opinions. I mean, come on, my entire career is based on having strong opinions, right? When I was in second grade, my second grade teacher said, you better keep your opinions to yourself or you're going to get in trouble. It turns out, you can have a whole career based on having strong opinions in America today. Take that, Mrs. Flesack. But obviously, I'm an advocate, right? I believe in opinions, ideas. I even believe in ideology. I believe in arguing passionately for your beliefs. In fact, I also think that's an essential part of democracy and engaged citizenship. It's certainly what this country was founded on. But I also believe in civil democratic discussion and debate, the kind that informs and, in fact, persuades all of us. And you can never, ever hope to persuade someone else of your opinion if you aren't remotely open to having your own opinion challenged. The key to finding compassion for those we disagree with is recognizing weakness and fallibility in ourselves. That the other side is not inherently flawed, and we are not inherently perfect. Now, this can be incredibly hard when we feel demonized ourselves. And I know it can seem ridiculous or even offensive to argue that, for instance, gay people should find compassion for homophobes, or women should find compassion for misogynists, or Israelis should find compassion for Palestinians, or vice versa. Yet, to suggest we're justified in dehumanizing others just because we believe they dehumanize us is to voluntarily abandon the moral high road and say we're justified in taking the low road because they started it. And that, by the way, is not a far cry from what we're seeing in American politics today, arguing that, for instance, America should torture and brutalize terrorism suspects because terrorists decapitate Americans, right? I mean, if they can be that bad, we should all be that bad, right? What kind of logic is that? What kind of moral principle is that to lead with? We have to be better than that. We must be better than that. That, by the way, is leadership. Social movements for liberation in the United States and abroad have historically come not from stooping to the same low moral ground as our opponents, but showing the path forward along higher moral ground. The civil rights movement fought violence with pacifism. The gay rights movement fought hatred with love. Hating our opponents, including those we think of as our allies but demonize, hating our opponents will never be the path to ending their hatred of us.